to set the stage for today. The first thing is that we're going to just review who I am quickly. For those of you who don't know me, I am Victoria Cameron. I am one of the founders of Cloud Consultancy, and we do software development and consulting on the Method platform as well as some custom software applications. My background is as an accountant and a pro advisor, and I came to the Method space because Method let us solve problems that QuickBooks didn't. And once I started working with Method, I ended up joining two other Method consultants, Laura Redman and Mark Cruz, and forming a company called Cloud Consultancy. And one of our standard products is Aero Workflow Manager, which is currently available on the Method platform for QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online. And we're currently developing Aero to be available in the QuickBooks Online App Store next spring as a standalone product so that you wouldn't absolutely need a Method account. That said, it's not going to be a CRM, so if you need a CRM and a workflow management tool, we're still going to be recommending that you use the Method version. So, getting back to workflow management, there's two terms that we're going to be using simultaneously and interchangeably today. One is workflow management, and that's defined as the organization of the setup, performance, and monitoring of a defined sequence of tasks. And specifically when we're talking about the client accounting space, there are a lot of tasks that you're doing that are repeatable. They don't vary too much across client. And if you want to make sure that your staff members are always performing those tasks in the same way, you need some kind of workflow management tool to maintain that. And the second thing we're going to talk about today is practice management. And that sort of encompasses workflow management, but it also encompasses being able to track all your client information that is crucial, tracking your employee time, keeping track of outstanding projects, and analyzing the resulting information so that you have good, firm KPIs about what's working, what isn't working, who's working, who isn't working. So one of the considerations when you're thinking about doing a workflow management tool like Aero or anything else, there's a bunch out there on the market, is that you need to think about how your tasks are going to get on the list. How are staff going to access their task list? Is it easy to manage your very recurring schedule of different tasks? Where's the checklist or spreadsheet stored? How is the staff going to access it? If it's on a central server, what happens when you have remote staff? A lot of times firms start out with an Excel worksheet, but that quickly gets unwieldy. What happens when multiple people start updating that at the same time? Usually chaos. The other thing is, do you as the manager have a clear view of what's complete, what is incomplete, what's getting done, what's not getting done? And finally, you want to make sure the system is really secure because it's going to store sensitive data. So you don't want inappropriate staff members to access things that they can't access. You don't want unauthorized people seeing that. So if it's just out on your computer, perhaps that is perhaps less secure. So what comprehends a good workflow management system? We think you need to have the steps to do on each task. We think you need the links with access to the internal procedure guide. so that your staff member is always going to know exactly how to do that task. They're not going to forget steps, and that the work is always completed efficiently and consistently. You may need links for where to go to perform the work for your staff, whether that be the payroll place or the or QuickBooks Online for accessing client accounting. But wherever that is, that your staff member needs to have that link quickly at hand so that they can go there, and they don't have to search for it. We also think that you should have easy access to the passwords and the security answers that your staff needs while they are performing those tasks. There's also we need places for your staff to be able to give you feedback on any problems they had when they were doing the task. A place for internal comments about whether the task was easy, hard. They need the ability to perhaps reassign the task to another staff member if they're going on vacation or there's a next step that needs to be done. We also think you should have access to all the client contact information that you need so that you can easily email the client while you're doing the task. And then we think you should have templates to speed up your common activities and your emails, whether that be a standard email that you send out to the client's vendors requesting a W-9 form, or a easy way to send a quick email to the client telling them how much funds they need to have in the bank at the end of the week for the payroll to get processed. And then we also think that it is really important that you be able to block access about any of this stuff to staff members that don't need to see that. So having kind of defined what we think is important about workflow, and of course we've got that all built into Aero. So what we're going to do is just quickly go back to the Aero program and kind of go through some of the ways that we've built access to those things in Aero. What we're looking at now is the central management dashboard of the tasks that are assigned. And we've got 10 activities due. At the moment, we don't have any that are deferred. We can quickly see what's completed. We can see, we can sort them by staff to see who's doing what in this particular day. And right up here, I've got 8 activities that are not yet authorized. That's because these staff members were assigning themselves tasks, and we don't want them to actually see that work on their list until we give them authorization to do that. So that if we're billing on a fixed fee basis, we want to make sure that staff members aren't adding tasks to their list from client communications or something that are going to blow out our profitability. So this is about preventing scope creep. So we give you, as the manager, the ability to make sure that staff doesn't add stuff to their list without checking with you first. So that gives me my central overview. I also have a place here to manage my clients. I can enter a bunch of sensitive information about this client. I can also store passwords for this client in a password vault that's encrypted. I can add client documents. I can record, I can also add team members to this client. Anybody that's on this team can see the sensitive client information. Anybody that was not on this team would not see the sensitive information. So then I have a place here to set up a bunch of templates, which are tasks that are generic and are pretty similar across clients. So by setting up sort of the details of a particular task and looking at those once, or writing them all up once, then I can use them to assign to another client. I also have a central dashboard where I can see all the client time that's being recorded and decide whether or not I want that to go to QuickBooks. I can edit it. I can make it billable, not billable. I can sort it by client, sort it by staff member. And if I want to, I can also export that if I need to for an external payroll system, if I'm not using QuickBooks Desktop Payroll. If you are using QuickBooks Desktop Payroll, it will absolutely sync. And then anything that I choose to approve will then go straight to QuickBooks, and I can include it on a client invoice. I also have the ability with Aero to set up a series of recurring tasks. So I can set up payroll, for instance, for a particular client to be due every 2 weeks on a Friday. I can assign that to a staff member, and then I just know it's going to show up on their list, and I don't have to worry about whether that payroll's getting done or not. I'll be able to see it on my Manage Work tab, whether that's in progress, and it's just there. So I can manage those recurrences, those recurring activities from here, and I can renew them for the next year if I need to. And then finally, on my management summary, I can see quickly which tasks are due, which tasks are in progress, and which had been deferred today. And then I can see my time KPIs for the month, how many hours are being logged, how many are billable, how many are not billable, how much time is spent on client work versus firm work, and how much time for each of those activities from a partner perspective or from a staff member. I can also see when my staff signed in and signed out. So that's kind of the quick view from the management perspective. As a worker, I'd have a task on my to-do list. And once I accept that task, I will have all those resources there that we talked about to do that task right at hand. And the idea behind Aero is sort of based on the E-Myth principle that if you can find a way to easily delegate all of your staff tasks and give them all the information they need to do that task, then you'll be able to step back from the business and step back more from the day-to-day stuff. So here I've got my defined list of steps to do payroll. As I check those off, they're going to get added to my time tracking notes, which will go to the timesheet and then also to the QuickBooks invoice if I choose to do that. Over here, I have a place to make internal notes that stay within the firm. I have access to any client documents, whether they're connected to this particular activity or connected to the client. I can see in the client vault what passwords we have. I can also have a web link, so if I want to go to their AT&T account and click right there, maybe to check the phone bills for a particular client. I have all the access to the sensitive client information here that we had on that screen, because I am part of this client team. So everything over here on this side that is designated as client info is considered secure and sensitive, and I would not see this if I were perhaps a temporary worker or a new employee and not yet a trusted team member. I have access to the different client contacts for this client. Maybe I might have their IT guy here as well. Maybe a tax accountant that they're using if I'm not doing the taxes myself. And then I have access to everything that everyone else in the firm has done for this particular client. So if I'm working on this, I can just check and see if somebody else already did left any notes about payroll last time that I needed to review. I've got some shortcuts here where I can email the client straight from within this program, so I don't have to go out to my email and get distracted. I can also email the client a quick email about what the payroll total is, and what period it is, and what date the funds are going to go. And then if I need to add a little note, and once I do that, it'll send the client an automated email with that information. So I have access to doing that very quickly. If I need any help about any of these things, I have links here. If I need to remember how do I go and verify that timesheet approval, and it gives me a how-to document here. For this step, for verifying holiday pay, it's going to take me to a web link where I can see, okay, this payroll period has a lot of holidays on it. I need to adjust the pay for this client accordingly. And then if I'm actually going to go to payroll, and I didn't have cookies disabled here, it would take me straight to Intuit Online Payroll for this particular client. Or another client, I might have a link to ADP. But my managers set that all up, so I've got everything I need to do the task all in one place. Keeps me more focused, gets that task done more quickly. Once I stop the task, I have the ability to either complete it, get it off my list, or I can defer it to another day. I can also reassign it to somebody else if I can't finish all my work and I'm going to go be out, or I get sick and I'm coming down with some terrible cough like Sarah that's on our line. And so I can assign it to somebody else, and then they can pick up and finish it for me tomorrow. So once I do that, it's going to remove it from my list and I can do the next thing. So one of the other things that happens, of course, is it's nice to have this defined set of activities that's always a beautiful list. First thing when you come in today, I've got it listed by priority. I've got everything that's due. I can see what type it's due. At a glance, I can see what that activity is about. But of course, the phone's going to ring. So I do have the ability to add a task quickly in here, record some information about a call that the particular client called. And once I do that, then I will get access to that other information that I have. Once I pick the client, I can start billing that client right away the minute the phone rings. The timer's already running. And then once I've got the more access here, I might be able to say, oh yeah, here's your information from last time. I can see what other notes there were about this client as I'm talking to them on the phone. And then once I hang up, I might actually then need to go in and create a new task for somebody else. Maybe I just took a message and I need somebody else to follow up, so I can do that straight from here as well. And both those things, when I'm done, will get recorded on the activity log, and this new related task will show up on the task list of whomever I assigned it to. So I can also add work for myself for later. And since this account is set up to not allow me to add things to my task list without having a manager approve it, I can add another task for later, but it won't show up on my task list until my manager's gone in and approved it. I can look at my personal timesheet for this week. I can also look at my time for a particular instance. It gives me the ability to edit my time if I needed to go in and change it, round it up or down. Maybe I need to go in and change that to not billable, something like that. But as long as this time hasn't gone to QuickBooks. As a worker, I can't edit it once it goes to QuickBooks. And then I can set my personal preferences so that when I'm doing a task, those kinds of things load more quickly. And I don't have to spend a lot of time setting different drop downs. So we are at the 20-minute of our quick dog and pony show about Aero. So at this point, I'd like to open it up to questions. And I'm going to, if you have a question, please raise your hand and then I will unmute you, or you're welcome to type it in the question panel as well. Did I forget to, in case I forgot to include anything? All right. Well, if we don't, so I do have what's the cost of Aero. So the Aero is $15 a month per user, but that is on top of the cost of Method currently. Method is $40 a user per month. However, if you qualify for the Method Partner Program, you basically can get a 50% discount on the first 5 users of Method. So that takes your Aero per user cost down to $35 a user. And there are details on the Method website. There are also details on our website. If you go to aeroworkflow.com, and I think there's a pricing section, and it has a link to the Method Partner Program and the details. So, any other questions? When will Aero be available without Method? So we are hoping on having it available after busy season, basically, because even with implementing something like this is difficult, and it's a little time consuming to get it up and running, getting all your tasks in here, getting everybody on board. And we find people don't like to do that kind of thing during, the crunch of tax season. So we will be starting a beta program possibly in February. If you're interested, please give us you can send us an email or fill out the contact form on our website and indicate that you're interested in standalone Aero, and we will add you to our beta list. So we're excited about it, but it's going to. I think it's going to be good, but it's not going to be. But again, it's not going to be a complete CRM. So it will be all the features that I've discussed today, however. All right. Any other questions? Great. If anybody has some more specific questions, if they'd like a private demo, we're happy to do those. Sometimes we can go more depth into a specific feature, and you can see if, we can talk about how it might fit into your particular firm and your particular workflow. But other than that, I'm going to, okay, here's another question. So if you have 3 employees, the cost would be, and you qualify for the Method Partner Program, the cost would be 35 times 3. So 105 for 3 employees. So again, it's $35 per user for the first 5 with, if you qualify for the Method Partner Program. And at the moment, this is just available on the Method platform, which is both good and bad because it does give you the full features of a CRM as well. And there's, and plus the ability to customize both Aero slightly for your account and to customized method for your account, and Get to Know Method, which is an awesome program for just sort of rounding out QuickBooks and giving your clients, your QuickBooks clients, the ability to do some things they couldn't do in QuickBooks. We are recording this. We will put the recording link up probably by tomorrow, and you should all get an email letting you know when the recording is available if you'd like to review this. Okay, well, thank you so much for giving me your time today, especially those of you on the East Coast where it's kind of getting to the end of the workday, and we appreciate your attendance. So have a great rest of the day, evening, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We're getting down to that time of year.